Welcome to Spill the Tea, where musicians tell nothing but the truth about gigging live.
Indeed. Here we go.
Love it.
Oh man.
Joining me today, we have an incredible singer and songwriter. Everybody, make some noise for Francesca Confortini.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you. This is great. I love this place. I feel so cozy.
Oh, that's
I have a tea in front of
amazing.
me. It's a morning, sunny day in Acton. Love
It's
it.
a perfect day.
It's beautiful.
Isn't it?
Thank you so much.
No,
Yes,
my
I can't wait.
pleasure. Can I also add to my introduction that I've never heard this woman miss a note? Like, how is your pitch? Always, like, incredibly just there. Like, never. Like, she's incredible. How do you do that?
Much. Oh my goodness. This is a difficult question.
I'm just being honest. Like,
thank you. Well, first of all, this is not true. Please ask my neighbors. Honestly, I wouldn't say that I am a perfectionist. Actually, I used to be, but I feel like you can't be in this industry. It's impossible if you think about it to cope with it.
Absolutely. The thing is that I don't think you try. I just think you are amazing. Like,
Thank you.
I'm not saying it because, you know, I am a singer and I love to just, like, you know, listen to my fellow singers and you know, everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah, of course.
And I just love, like, how natural it feels when you're singing, and it's just like it flows and it's just right there when it needs to be.
Thank you. To be honest, I feel the same about you.
Oh no, bless you.
No. Honestly, I think I completely resonate with what you just said.
Oh my God.
I think everybody needs to portray their personality on stage. When it feels like you want to be too perfect, again, to use the same word, but also too manufactured, you can totally hear that. And I think it's something that can get to your audience quite immediately, even on a subconscious level. So in one way, I think actually letting go of that pressure when you're on a stage makes you get a little bit more in sync with what you're singing, with the music that you're playing with, with the musicians you're with, and ultimately connecting more with the audience.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't think that the notes are necessarily like spot on 100% each time in the middle of the target. I think it's the other way around. I think because the singer needs to be the glue between the audience and the band.
Totally.
You create the atmosphere, and maybe it's working, so maybe the audience is kind of resonating with it, so it feels like, oh yeah, I'm flowing now, I'm flying.
It just creates this beautiful kind of world, this beautiful bubble that I feel like you are in for those like 2 hours.
I definitely am. Like, I'm in the zone when I'm singing, and I think it's my best form of escapism from everything else, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
And do you feel like, are you one of those singers that actually practice before a gig? Or do you tend not to?
Okay, what are we going to talk about?
Next question, please.
So, no, it really depends what it is. There is a part of me that, I definitely practice vocals.
Mm-hmm.
I treat it like, I always say to my students, I treat it like the gym. And I experiment with it. So my warm-ups are never the same according to how I feel. I think I've got enough of like a knowledge of how it should sound when it sounds in a certain point. And I look at the gig that I've got, for example, on the same day. I have my own like rituals to see. I don't know.
I love it.
Them as well. Like,
I love it. I want to hear.
What is my voice like today? How is it feeling? Am I stretching it up and down in the morning just to kind of gauge where
you are on the day.
And then according to that, I formulate a sort of mental plan on how my voice should be warmed through the day so that I can get to the gig in the best shape. Maybe I need more hydration, and I can tell because maybe, I don't know, I feel a little bit dry.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need a bit more energy overall, because sometimes it's not just about the voice. It's just like your body feels weak and tired. So maybe some, I don't know, extra electrolytes in my drinks on that day, or maybe I need more inhaling. I don't know. I have all my like concoctions.
That's amazing.
I don't know. Some of it, I think it's a little bit psychologically. I need to get ready to go. So you need to have your meditative moment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, like do you ever have, like, when you know you have a very important gig, that is the morning when you feel like, I'm getting sick.
Oh, yes.
I'm getting sick
100%.
now. I can feel it. Why?
For me, it's more recording sessions.
Is it?
You know when you have a recording session compared to when you're playing live, it's a completely different mindset.
Yes.
I think I'm more of a live singer because
Same.
the recording studio just is so difficult for me to relax. I much rather, when I discovered during the pandemic that I could just record from home, that changed my life. Like, I love that. But before a studio session, I am so tense. I am so tight. I would love to have a masseur just there, just trying like untie my knots, because I feel like I am a piece of wood and I have to go to the studio and I can't breathe. And all I can think of is like, this thing that I'm recording is gonna be there forever and I can't change it, blah, blah. Which obviously is a silly thing to think, but it is in a way the truth.
Yeah, because it's your thing, so you just want to do it the best way you want to do it.
Exactly, and it's never the best, of course, because in your head you've got, castles.
I should have done that. Why did I do that? Oh, look at the breath there. Why did I do it?
But the truth is, at the end of the day, you can't live like that. So you gotta make a choice, and then that choice is a moment in time. True. And that's the way that I also listen to live albums, for example, and that kind of helps, because it makes me think, okay, well, that was that interpretation. I really admire bands or musicians or singers that then republish the same song with a new spin, and I'm like, oh, I'm allowed to do this.
Absolutely,
I don't have to always do the same. So I calibrate, and going back to the live, I feel the same way. So I know that when I'm on, no matter how the warm-up has been, no matter how my voice is feeling today, I'm gonna work with what I have. Same as going on a night out when I was 16. Maybe it was tipping day for my parents, so that's gonna be a good night. Or maybe it was gonna be, okay, I've got €5.
What can I do with this?
What can I do with it and still have a good time?
I love it. That's such a good way to think about it. Because like sometimes when, especially when you're playing like in a new venue, or or even if it's a venue you always play at, but it's a venue you really like and everybody appreciate you, you feel a lot of pressure. And although you always try your best, it's really hard sometimes, because it really, like people don't think about it, but there's so much that plays a part. Like, how do I feel with my body? Like, how does my body feel? It's not just my voice, my voice is part of my body.
100%.
Am I aching? Am I ill? Or am I happy? Am I sad? So like, how does like your kind of everyday life or your mood or everything that happens, how does that influences what goes on stage?
Massively, because I realized that the only way to cope with certain gigs, especially if they are regular gigs, where at the beginning you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna change the set list every time, I'm gonna add all these new songs, etc. But then ultimately you just realize that the audience just wants maybe a certain set. So the changes that you do are minimal, and yet I cling on to those. For example, I play this regular gig maybe twice a month. It's just one of those gigs that is really nice venue, but it's that kind of gig that just pays the bills, let's say. And when I do that, there is a very long dinner set before a party set, and that feels very draggy sometimes. So for me, having the possibility to maybe add 2 songs, one at the beginning, one on the second part, I'm like,
that you really like this is my time.
Yeah, exactly. Something new, there's a bit of excitement, I don't know, there's that, and that helps me. And then there's the actual fact that if you have the same songs to repeat over and over, you can get quite bored quite easily, and if you're bored, there's no way your audience is gonna be having fun.
They feel it.
No way.
They know.
If you're not into it, and also you keep looking at the clock. There's this other gig that I do where there's like a giant clock like in front of me, and it feels so long.
It calls it.
I can't see you. Like
it's like
I can't look at you. Otherwise, it won't pass. And I know I shouldn't be saying this, because the sugar-coated world should be,
I know, but this is why we're
singing.
here.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. But sometimes it's not amazing. Sometimes you had to drop whatever you were doing, even if it was the most important thing in that moment, even if you weren't feeling 100%, because you have that gig and you can't cancel last minute.
It's your job.
It's your job. So you gotta be there and smile and be there thinking, oh my goodness, I have to check my phone because something is happening, and you can't, and all you can think of is that.
Oh gosh.
You need to find a way out, you know?
I know.
For me, entering the song and having the narrative and respecting the lyrics and following the story is the only way. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go back to myself, and I can't.
Isn't it kind of like incredible how you can, it's not easy, but as you said, like you can cut a little piece of reality and just be there. So whether something is happening outside, you can just be there and just be in your safe place.
Totally.
For that moment. Like literally switch off, because you need to be there. You need to know what you're doing. You know, sometimes we just go autopilot, as you say, to some gigs, but it's nice when you can actually find kind of shelter, you know, like feel really safe on
Sarah,
stage.
you need to do this because you need to protect yourself when you're on stage on so many levels. And it's something that nobody ever told me explicitly. And I started doing this job quite early. I was only maybe 19 when I started doing these type of gigs. And I don't know if I was just unlucky or maybe it was like the type of environments that I was in, but there were a lot of environments where I was seeking approval from the audience, and then being really young, I would just completely unaware, I didn't know I shouldn't be looking at the faces that the audience were pulling or the comments that they were saying, and maybe they were talking about something totally unrelated, although sometimes I'm pretty sure they weren't.
Oh my God.
But all I could think was
definitely,
is this lady talking about me? Maybe
what
I've
have
done something wrong.
Yes.
Maybe my dress is broken. Maybe I shouldn't have played that song. He clearly hates it. Or this kind of stuff, you know?
Gosh.
So if you are not entering that bubble, this spirals down really quickly, and the chances are you're not gonna put your feet back on that stage like ever again, and you're gonna be like, right, I'm done, I'm gonna change career.
That's the thing. Everybody thinks, you know, like it's so easy. You're a singer, okay? You're just gonna go on stage.
Just go.
Just sing.
Just
you know,
it.
I can sing. I go to karaoke. I sing. Everybody can sing. But you don't know the pressure, like, as you said, also just the thought of being not judged, but sometimes judged, and just keep going anyway. Or if you have, you know, like a crowd of like 2 people, you know, or if there's no one, and you're just literally just singing for nobody, but you still need to do your best.
For sure.
You know, like...
Actually, even more, because I feel like the people that stay, for example, let's talk about private function. That I wanna make a big distinction, because having public gigs, private functions, and public gigs that are actually your own material or quite artsy gig, I think they need to be in 3 different realms.
Yes.
Because the 3 things are all super different. In a private setup, I tend to play in a lot of contexts where, for example, it's a corporate event or even a reception for something, a wedding, a party, a birthday, whatever. From, I don't know, literally like the royal family to whatever, I don't know, anyone, like my classmates from when I was growing up, whoever that is, they're not gonna give you the same attention because you're there as part of the display. You're like, oh, look, there's a buffet, there's a band, there's this, there's that.
There's a singer on stage.
Yeah. It's like
you can look but not touch.
Literally, like you get acknowledged, but it's obviously you're not gonna get the same adrenaline and feeling as you would if it's like everyone is there, it's silent, they're there to listen to your music. That is putting everything on a whole new level. But I feel like I'm lucky enough to experience all these realms. So I have my own different mindsets that I have to force myself to get back into before I go into any of these settings. Because as I said before, it's the only way to cope. So when you're in a private function, sometimes the people are there because they want to have a champagne and you're there next to them, and that's okay. But I don't think it would matter if you weren't there.
Yeah.
In a way.
True.
So if there's only 2 people there and they're really there for you, even more so, you're gonna put yourself into it because you're appreciating this even more, the fact that they're there.
How nice is that though, when you actually have someone that is just like, or even stops you, or on the break, they're like, oh my God, like you're making my night. You need one person.
100%.
You need one person that makes you feel that.
Yes.
It's just so beautiful. You're like, I'm here, I have a purpose, and I'm actually, you know, I'm being appreciated for what I do.
I couldn't agree more, especially because when you sing, you're literally telling somebody a story.
And you're so exposed, isn't it?
Absolutely. So at least having somebody that catches your eye and not only maybe
acknowledges you.
Yeah, just resonates with what you're saying, or nods, or is just humming along.
Yes.
Knowing that you've made somebody's evening is the best feeling. And even knowing that they're gonna go home and maybe remember a little hook, or be like, oh, I haven't heard this song in ages, or oh, I really like this, what is it? I don't know, I think it's just a small gesture, but anyone who goes to gigs, please, if you have something to say and you feel awkward about it, just go for it, because literally it's gonna make the artist's day, the artist's night.
I agree.
If you just wanna say well done and you're like, I'm not gonna say this because
I'm gonna bother her or anything.
No, please do it, because it really makes a difference. It gives you purpose. It's so difficult. There's so many things we have to think about.
We don't take it for granted when someone actually shows appreciation.
Literally. And the day after the gig, have you ever experienced that feeling when you're waking up and you're like, today I'm not gigging. I'm a fraud.
It's just
like
my
life
the day
is a waste.
Is either when you go to school and it's the day before the Christmas holiday,
yes,
or the first day of the Christmas holiday. So you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful feeling.
It's beautiful, but then there's that down feeling of feeling like, wait, am I like, don't I have any bookings coming up, or what's going on? Am I an imposter? There's that kind of feeling that creeps up, you know? So you gotta accept your time off, but also don't forget about what you just did. Unfortunately, the adrenaline rush kind of ends really quickly, so you end up feeling so empty.
That's true.
I think if you can cling on those nice comments or compliments or whatever that is, as long as they are real, even if it's just a small, like, nice one tonight, whatever. I mean, we're still in the UK after all, so I'm not expecting like crazy, like, wow!
Oh my God!
Yeah, exactly. But actually, it's even nicer because I know how much it costs for more reserved people to kind of get to you and tell you like a little thing. These are the things that the next day, when your schedule is empty and you feel like you're not worthy of anything and your phone is not ringing, you're like, hold on, actually, it's okay.
Or do you know when they slip a little note and they're like, thank you so much. I literally kept all of mine. They're in a little, what do you call it? A little basket.
I love that.
And it's just, you're
so
like,
nice.
oh my God. And you find it, you know, in your backpack, and you're like,
a little reminder.
Yeah, you know, and it's, of course, we like to be appreciated. It's not that we are seeking for approval, but everybody loves to be appreciated. And especially when you put your everything into something, I feel like having something like this in return, which is just like natural, genuine love, it's
for sure.
It's just the best.
I consider it like I'm squeezing my emotions so much to put them into the lyrics that I'm singing that sometimes I feel so exhausted afterwards. I need at least a little bit back so that I can refill.
That's all we need,
my bucket.
Honestly, absolutely.
Exactly. Just it's a bucket. Everything is a bucket.
Everything is a bucket.
Yeah. Peel of the day. Anyway.
Direct question. Are you team in-ear monitors or are you team wedges?
I am team 1 ear in, 1 ear out.
Are you?
Yeah.
A bit Mariah.
No. That can't stand it. Hate it. No, please don't do that. It looks so bad. I don't like it. But I'm team in-ear wedges, in-ear monitors, 1 ear. And then I want to hear what's going on.
A bit of the ambience and
I want to
of
have the ambience. But I use my voice so much every day. I also teach, of course, and I love that. And I want to give, 100% of what I have per day. I quickly found out that I don't want to lose my, my hearing. I don't want to lose my voice. I don't want to run any risks. So if I have the chance to have nice, neat volume of my voice in my ears, that gives me more stability. And at the same time, I can sort of gather what the external environment is like. What are you? What team are you?
I am team. Do you know what? It depends on the gig. I have done gigs with function bands where we had in-ear monitors and there was horrendous. I just couldn't function afterwards because it was so loud. And
could you not do your own mix?
Although I could do my own mix, the room was so small and reverberating. And do you know, can I say something? I wanna know what you think about this.
Go on.
Do you know drummers?
Yes.
Do you know drummers?
Yes.
So when you are playing in a small room.
Oh, volume.
Yeah. Apart from volumes, do you know, they're literally right behind you, so your microphone picks up everything.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What about a nice little shield?
It depends where you are. I completely resonate. But I think it's the kit as well. You need to know what the room size is, but also I think if you're a good drummer,
you kind of know what
you can play quieter.
Yeah.
Because the room is there.
Yeah.
You're still giving the beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, for example, I have my own way of doing my mix. If you look at it, it's so weird because I don't want anything in my ears.
Really?
I only want basic harmony things, depending on what gig it is.
Yeah.
If it's a function and it's a pop thing and I know the harmonic kind of the tonal center of the song is not going to change.
I see what you mean, yes.
It's
I'm the
not
same.
going to have crazy
You just want the keys maybe just to know
I want
the chords and
just to root myself down. I want the keys and the guitar according to who's leading the harmonic side of things. But at the same time, I'm sorry, horns, I love the horn section.
We can hear you ananyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to have a 4-piece horn section in my ears. All I want is my voice, the talk back, and a minimal bed of what's going on harmonically. I've got one ear out, so worst case scenario,
true.
I can sort of still gather what's going on.
I agree, yes.
And I have no drums whatsoever, and yet it gets picked up because it's in the wireless mic.
Absolutely.
It's so sensitive, it just picks everything up. So
that's crazy.
But also, I'd rather have not a lot of volume on the pack, for example, and have my gain a little bit turned up.
Yeah.
So I know I don't have to
I'm
push.
the same. Yes.
No, for sure.
Yes.
I think all these things, you become very specific with what you want.
Yeah.
But this is great because you know that it works. Winning team.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's no worse feeling after a gig and you feel like you've pushed so much. When you literally could have done the same thing, just so much easier and so much chill and laid back.
100%.
But the volume, and that's why, are you one of those because I am, I need my reverb?
Oh, yeah.
Are you? Because
totally.
Can't it change everything?
It does.
Even the way you sing, the way you're more chill in kind of projecting if you have a nice reverb.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, guys, but I feel like if
I'm always judged for this.
No, but yeah, because I mean, sometimes the sound engineer would look at you I do more reverb. You already have a ton, you have the gain, and I'm it's not there yet. So
it's not the kind that I like. And also how long, how short. It's not just pump reverb.
To me, if it's too much, sometimes they're oh yeah, you want reverb.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like they do it on purpose. They're
feel
do you want it?
The Christmas ghost, coming.
Brothers and sisters.
No, I don't want that. But a little bit of depth to my voice, I think it just makes me feel okay, there's a nice acoustic resonance. It's like singing in a church, which is beautiful.
Yeah, you feel
somewhere where you've got
hugged.
You can literally radiate the energy and it fills up your body and it's
Okay, talking about your musicians.
Yes.
So let's say if you want to.
Yes.
So if you want, you can name. If you don't, you can say what instruments they play. So who is the most likely to make you laugh on stage?
Oh, Well, do you mean with my own band or like what?
I would say if you have a musician that you play with that you know, like it's so likely it's gonna make you laugh on stage.
To be honest, rather than it being a musician, it's one of the bands that I play with. I have been playing with the same. It's a function. It's okay. It would be my own quintet normally, but I'm so into it, and it's a serious kind of environment when I do it. I feel more nervous than anything else. So I love being there, but I wouldn't banter so much on stage because it's difficult
fair
music.
enough.
We need to go for it. But I love you guys. You make me laugh so much. It's just I'm not relaxed enough to get there when I'm in that environment. But I play in this function, and I've been doing it for 10 years. And we grew up together with these lads, and they got me in, and it's all guys, and it's proper like laddie guys.
I love it.
They're really fun, and it's thanks to them that I know so many good banter bits in English, because these guys are incredible, and we always kind of cope together through the gigs, and it's so funny.
We want a name.
Well, the band is called The Fabulous Hurricanes, and these guys are like the best.
Oh, that's
I always have
amazing.
such a great time on stage with them.
Oh,
and
that
they've
is
been going on
beautiful.
forever. And it's thanks to my mate Luke, who was in uni with me at the time, who now plays for James Bay, so he's always away on tour.
Oh, wow.
But it's thanks to him that I got into the band in the first place. Like, I'm talking, again, 10 years ago. So honestly, it's been like my summer Saturdays have always been filled up with this type of gigs, and I always have an amazing time.
Oh, that's amazing. How beautiful is that?
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see like how we all go through different phases, especially because maybe we don't see each other for like a couple of months, and then they also, the main guy, founder of the band, he opened an agency and works on other bands, and I'm usually singing with another band now, so whenever I go back to them, it's always
nice.
Like
it's like going back to family.
Yeah, in a way.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
really
it.
fun.
What is one thing that you wish either venues or agencies would do different to help musicians' life?
Where can I start?
I know.
Wait. Give me some boundaries, otherwise I can space out from,
Like one thing that you think it's really important, like, or like what can make your gig in life better, like dealing with a venue or dealing with an agency, like anything in particular you can think about that, they don't always do or that you wish they did better?
I think it depends. I must admit I am very lucky because I created a little environment for myself where I know that the gigs that I have now are always environments or people I can talk to and be quite honest about things, and I'm absolutely, I don't make crazy requests like I never had. Although one day I might ask for puppies in my green room or whatever.
Oh, yes.
That would be amazing. I read that Mariah Carey has that.
She does,
I'm only halfway through. But at the same time, I feel like, I don't know if this is because times have changed and there is more attention and care towards the musicians, or it's just me. I've progressed maybe in my career and I've kind of
you found a nice little...
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the case. So I must admit, I remember things being very different when I started out. And I don't know if this is because of the times or because of me maybe getting rid of those type of gigs. But I feel like if it's the latter, then I would recommend... First of all, it's entirely up to the singers or the musicians to have a voice. So unfortunately, I think because it's so difficult to understand the requirements and the things that make you feel at ease, if you don't feel at ease in an environment, I would recommend you to maybe approach whoever is in charge and see if you can find a point of communication that feels open and relaxed, and see how you feel. Once you've assessed that, if there is no way that you're gonna get, to a decent standard, and by a decent standard, I mean, you get compensated for your travel.
Yes.
You have enough break time. You don't have crazy long sets. you have, like, enough is enough. You get told you're doing 2 45 minutes. If they want another one, they have to pay extra. And also you have the right to say no. You don't have to feel pressurized into it.
True.
I love the fact that I can take these things for granted, but I know it's not a granted thing. So I would recommend you as a musician, as a singer, the change needs to start from you. Once your needs are clear, then the industry will have to adapt. Otherwise, it's not going to be viable anymore because you're going to stop working for them.
Yeah.
At the same time, I feel like agencies or venues should treat their musicians as their clients as well. For instance, I'm going to tell you a little, like, spill the tea fact. For example, right after COVID, we had the unfortunate situation of getting into a court case for a gig that didn't want to pay us after a New Year's Eve gig. I'm talking 2019, 2020. You can imagine what happened in 2020. We're talking that gig on 2019 of hotel that was outside of London in Wales, if I don't remember wrong. We played there as an acoustic act. And they clearly wanted an acoustic act because it was cheaper than a full band. And then because it was New Year's Eve, they wanted the band to be upbeat and make people dance. And obviously, I wasn't actually on the gig, but it was, my collective of musicians. So we sent 3 musicians there doing it. And then obviously the singer who was there, who was a really good friend of mine, was like, well, I'm here with a double bass and an acoustic guitar. I'm going to do my best to be upbeat, but it's not going to be the same as having like an 11-piece. So as a result, after the gig, these guys didn't want to pay at all. And it's a pretty hefty fee, it's...
You don't do that.
Especially, it was through an agency. And that made us feel like, okay, well, at least we are protected, We are
That's true.
partners of this agency as much as these guys are the clients of these agencies. So clearly we are going to have somebody who's going to be fighting for us.
It's going to look out for us. Yeah.
Zero.
Oh,
Like tumbleweed
guys,
rolling in the desert.
This?
That is bad. That is really bad. Because they had their fee. The fee that the agency was paid was the deposit of the client, which is also quite dodgy sometimes. You don't know how much it is. Very sketchy if they don't even tell you how much percentage they're going to get. Fair. Of course, they're going to get a fee. There's administration behind it. There's the exposure of their meta ads, whatever they're using, their Google search optimization to get you to be booked. Fair. It's literally a job to be an agent, but at the same time, you need to be more transparent, I think. And on the other hand, refusing to help, being like, oh, sorry guys, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, no, that's really bad.
Thank goodness we went to the Musicians Union and they were able to help us. And in the end, it was all sorted. We won the case. Yay! No, of course, we didn't do anything wrong. The gig was fulfilled. The contract was fulfilled. The music was played. Everything was according to plan. They just didn't realize that having drums or having a different type of music that you book a jazz trio, you're gonna get a jazz trio.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna be able to turn into, Ibiza style.
But they try everything just to get the money back, don't they?
Absolutely. Obviously, we were gonna win, but we needed that extra, support or help from somebody who could at least make them feel a bit scared to actually pursue this non-payment.
That's what they need.
In the end, we reached out to DMU. They were amazing. Yay. Please subscribe to DMU. It's a great thing to have. It really works in this country. But on the other hand, these clients we weren't treated as clients by our agency. So I think this is something that
they should be working on.
As an agency or as a venue, you should consider for sure.
Do that. What do you think the right fee for a standard gig is?
Oh, what's a standard gig?
245s in London.
245s in London. I think you got to be aware of the calendar, period of time it is, your experience, and the type of
for
repertoire.
Yourself.
For me,
like for a good musician that is professional.
I think if it's in town, it would be £250. Yes. I think it's a fair fee.
Listen, guys, you listen.
I mean, the cost of living is mental at the moment.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why it was £200 a few years ago and it still is.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. Do you agree? What would you have said?
This is literally what I say to everybody. Why am I paid the same? Not only 2 years ago, 5 years ago.
Literally.
You know, why?
If if it's 2:45s, I can reach the venue. It feels like
London,
okay, I'm only there for like 3 hours total. That is
minimum.
A fair thing.
Yes.
I don't think it's too much at all, considering the amount of effort. The fact that during that day you can't really do much. You need to warm up. You need to get prepped. You need to do your hair, whatever it is. Learn the new songs. Whatever it is you have to do. Get to the venue. Eat. So you need that.
Take notes.
For sure. And all the skills. Come on, skills.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think our time is up. I wish we did like an hour.
Yeah, me too.
2 hours episode.
For sure. Well, anytime.
Thank you so much, Fra, for joining me today.
Yeah,
that was so
I love
fun.
This. Thank you so much.
You guys will find Fra Instagram, Spotify, anything to reach you in the description down below. For sure. And thank you so much again.
Oh, thank you so much.
I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.